Welcome back, ladies and gents, here to IEM Season 10. This is day 2. We've been going through Group B so far. We've had some interesting results, and we're about to play the match to decide who will get the second spot in Group B. Will it be Renegades or Eat You Alive? Joining me on the desk, we have Semler and Vendetta. Welcome, Mr. Semler.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys.
How are you doing?
Figured out the,
even though the camera
I figured out the camera angles now. Everything's good.
That's good. Good to hear. We had some interesting results so far. Mongols. Mongols. It's pretty awesome. I won't lie. I was really very happily, pleasantly surprised.
The Horde is alive. Renegades have just been impregnated, old school style.
Oh, wow.
You know, like, are we going to go there? But, I mean, seriously, Mongols, man, machine gun? Where did this guy come from? He just wrecked them. Like, that was some straight up no respect CS. Just, you know, actually, I'm just going to run out here and take this fight with you, and I'm just going to hit headshots everywhere. What are you going to do about it, right? It took him, like, the first half and well into the second half for Renegades to finally be able to come to grips with this guy and start figuring out, oh, maybe if we kill him first, you know, maybe if we just wait for him to push. It took so long for Renegades to figure out what they needed to do to actually beat this all-out aggression coming in from the Mongolian Horde.
Yeah, no, it was absolutely insane. Machine Gun was just, yeah, you know, an epiphany. Really, like he was, and also Machine Gun, he's gonna get a lot of love. But I thought Silkenberg played a really good game as well.
Yeah,
you wouldn't expect like a lot of players to have such a solid performance.
And that's what Blair was talking about, right?
Yeah.
Into it. He's like, you watch Machine Gun, you watch Zilk. These two guys, they're the one punch combo, like the 1-2. That's that combo that Mongols are looking for rather. And you know, when we talk about these top tier teams, you know, even like European teams, you know, you talk about like, okay, well, it's like Olaf Meister and Krims, you know, you're watching these guys
Device.
Here. Exactly, right? You know, all these teams, they have these guys that they really rely on. And this time around, everything worked out perfectly in that first half where it really did, and they were making correct calls as well. It wasn't just, I mean, yes, there was a lot of, you know, very blunt trauma to the face for Renegades where it's actually like, we're just going to run in here and take fights. But they were also making, you know, educated decisions as to like Renegades' economy. Oh, okay, hold on. Maybe they're going to try and go aggressive mid. And so they did go for like, you know, straight up hold situations as well rather than just running in. It wasn't just, you know, this one-dimensional kind of play coming from Mongols. They were actually covering their bases, making sure that Renegades couldn't get aggressive on them. I loved it. That was a sick match to watch.
I can tell you're right.
That was
absolutely loving it.
Really cool to watch.
So
I really enjoyed that.
So excited. And of course, you know, they'll be up against the Chiefs, and that's going to be really interesting. We'll have a lot more time to talk about that.
Bro, are like, woo! You know, they're watching this like, no, please, please,
it's hard to know what to do against that kind of style of play, but it's going to be Renegades, and that's that. I'm sure you have a lot to say about that as well. Eat You Alive, we've only seen one match really from them, and it's hard to really quantify what's really going on for them. But Renegades, have they been broken here? I mean, they have a history of kind of
tilting,
this mental breakdown that affects them through tournaments. Are we seeing that? Are they going to lose this match?
If they
I don't think it's that bad.
No, if they were to lose this match, like Mongols, clearly that was one of the heavy hitters in the group. Everybody, you know, was kind of on the fence as to where exactly they would place, but it was going to be between them and Tyloo for second seed, basically, if everything went according to plan, obviously, with Renegades. Yeah. But because Renegades are the favorite team in the group, they were the team that was supposed to take first seed, much like we saw from CyberZen yesterday in Group A. So that's already kind of, you know, fallen to the wayside. In this kind of match, if Renegades lose versus Eat You Alive,
you retire.
They're going to get a call from Monte Cristo where it's actually like, yeah, guys, those contracts, you know, I just tore them up. You know, so
I lost them in the shredder.
Aussie land because that's it. I mean, you are not allowed to lose this match if you're Renegades. Against Mongols, maybe. Against this one, no.
I mean, if Tali were in the group still, I mean,
oh man,
wow, I don't know.
We could actually have a scenario where Renegades wouldn't make it out of groups, which would have been insane if Tyloo were still here.
I know that whole Tyloo thing, man.
And
what's worse is that, you know, QZ apparently is like the main opper. He's the caller for the team.
Yeah.
Like, they just lost. Like, that could kill the whole team. You just lost the brain of the team on top of, you know, a steady opper for you. Yeah, that's really frustrating for all of us here because, okay, obviously we have to respect the rules, and Valve are making it very clear that it is not their responsibility to check for who has a VAC ban or not. It's you. If you're on that team, you better make damn clear or damn sure that everybody on your team is clean. And so that's the example. That's the message that's being sent. So we have to go with it. But man, it sucks to not see Tyloo play because they were one of the hopefuls here in this tournament.
Absolutely,
they were definitely one of the top tier teams that were going to be, you know, competing, looking for that first or second seed in the groups.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of reasons to really look forward to it, especially because we saw, you know, that really good flash of play from CyberZen at Minsk. So we kind of expected, we know that CyberZen and Tyloo have been going head-to-head and really just battling it out, you know, in Chinese leagues together with Wings and Born of Fire. So you kind of feel, you know, you feel like Chinese CS is coming along, and this is going to be a pretty big setback if it ends up breaking up the Tyloo team.
Yeah, I mean, at least we have CyberZen.
Yeah,
Cyber
no,
said yesterday
absolutely.
that
And from what I hear,
results, yes.
teams like Wings are also on the up and up. So, it's not necessarily all doom and gloom, but obviously, it's a bit of a sad.
And it's just, insult to injury, right? That extra little twist of the knife. Mongols beating Renegades on the map that Renegades wanted. That was cash. Renegades feel very confident on it. So now, well, how are Eat You Alive going to approach this, considering this is Renegades map? This is the map that Renegades want to play on.
This is the thing as well, right? Previously, of course, we saw these two teams facing off initially today, and it was Cobblestone. And Cobblestone is, typically not going to be a great map, especially if it's not starting on the right side. It can be very brutal. We saw that yesterday as well. So we're not really sure. I think we haven't really had a good demonstration of Eat You Alive in their skill sets. But going into Cash, that was actually the second ban in the first veto process earlier today. So after seeing that, they're like, okay, maybe we can let Cash go a little bit or get the case
Maybe
in
it's
there.
okay.
And we've ended up with the same situation.
I guess how well can the Vietnamese team summon their inner Mongolian?
Right.
I guess that's what it comes down to, because it's like you said, even though it's hyper aggression coming out of the Mongols, it's still well thought through, and they still do it correctly. Like when they go on a site, they actually do it properly as that group before that's just running in. Like they are checking all the corners and all that.
Sorry.
Yeah, I saw
Yeah,
that.
no, yeah.
That was a lot of that had to do with just Machine Gun though going completely ape shit. Like what did he have by like the 5th round? He was on 12 kills or something.
Yeah,
I'm just actually wrecking everybody at this point. Don't stop me now. Don't stop me. Right?
Yeah, he's just going for it.
He was
got Freddie Mercury here.
dancing across that map. Just looking for headshots everywhere. That was I mean, real pleasure to watch. As far as this game is concerned, I mean, we still saw just a little bit of hesitation. Like, there was a little bit of a struggle at the beginning on Cobble when both of these teams played on the first map of the day. We did actually start to think, wait a second, Renegades, you're actually getting beat up a little bit here. There was a little bit of a struggle. It wasn't clean cut until Renegades finally found themselves to start playing with some confidence, and then they kind of took control of the map from there on out. Yeah. But we did see something from Eat You Alive. It was a glimmer, of like how it is supposed to, in their minds, work out in a map. So I think that's the main thing here, is that if Eat You Alive can pick up the pistol, for example, on Cash, really get that confidence, right? We're just like, yeah, we won the pistol. That's the key round, right, guys? And Renegades, they're just like, oh, no, God, it's happening all over again, right? Like, we might have some sort of situation where we can have a close map on our hands.
Eat You Alive for the home team as well. Taiwanese team.
But are they Taiwanese?
Yeah.
I've been saying Vietnamese all the time.
Eat You Alive, Taiwanese team, home team.
Count on DDK to throw you under the bus.
Yeah, no. Didn't say anything before we started, of course.
I just let you go there.
Thanks, Dan.
This
I let the
is a
mistake
fun
happen,
thing.
so it makes me look good. That's how it works.
No, just
in the show
feeding out the
business.
rope.
All right, so Renegades need to. I mean, this must be something that they've been working on as well, because again, time and time again, it's just always been the issue for them, like psychology, morale.
I'm sure somebody can find this, where, I mean, obviously in the VODs or whatever, but like there's this moment where Sponge is walking across the stage to shake the Mongol's hands, and he's got this smile on his face, like it's frozen, like this caricature. It's like, and you can just imagine the caption where it's like, "This is my nightmare." Like, he's just like dying in his eyes, just like, ha, like everything.
It was super fun to lose.
I mean, Sponge right now has got to be going, team, please. We took 9 rounds in a row. Why can't we play like that at the beginning of the map? Where's the confidence at the beginning of the map for JKS to run around and get quad kills and all this sort of stuff?
That's the thing as well, like, the player was saying how abysmal the CT side of Mongols was as well. It was all about that T side. They had to get those CT rounds.
Yeah, I guess from an equal point of view, Renegades CT side was pretty abysmal as well.
Exactly, yeah. Like, I would suppose so, yeah.
Yeah, well, so I guess that's where that's going to have to be the opening for EU Live. Maybe start on the T side, win the pistol, get control over the economy by winning the first buy round.
That was also Machine Gun getting like 2 headshots and like...
Yeah, every single time you saw someone, they died.
Snap my fingers close enough there. That's how fast that round was over. Because I was even talking about, look, Mongols, they like to group up as 4, as we can see, right? Things are going according to plan. And then all of a sudden, Renegades are dead. I was like, well then, you went into like a 4-on-3 retake situation where you should have total control, and you literally lost it in like 2 seconds flat. So... looks like we got the knife round coming up here, so I don't think it's gonna matter which side Renegades wind up on.
Yeah.
They should be the favorite team regardless of what happens here.
Yeah, do you guys have any quick predictions here?
Yeah.
I mean, it seems pretty clear that Renegades should be winning this one.
No, this should be Renegades. If not, I think the Monte Cristo scenario is very, very likely.
And everyone is, I think, kind of on the edge of their seats, kind of waiting for to watch the car crash. Basically, everyone wants to see that happen at this point, because also to see a Taiwanese team do really well in front of the home crowd would be fantastic as well.
That'd be
but
sick.
Seeing Renegades also bouncing back would be equally brilliant. So there's a lot to look out for in this match. Are there any highlights apart from the Renegades players? Like, are you alive? Any of the players that stood out for you in the first match to look into here?
99.
99?
Yeah, he actually looked like one of the players on the team, at least at the beginning of Cobble, and going, well, I mean, obviously the trouncing began, and then it was just like, every man for himself sort of situation. But 99, at least at the beginning of Cobble and a little bit later on into the half, looked to me like the guy who was actually coping. It wasn't like caving under the pressure so much. He was trying to put up a fight. He was the guy who was getting 1 frag here, 2 frags there, right, making it close for Renegades.
He was also their secondary opera, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I would keep an eye on him, honestly, for Eat You Alive.
All right, so it is time to throw it to the casters. The game is ready. Eat You Alive versus Renegades. We have, of course, the lovely Pansy and Moses standing by.
Alrighty, thank you very much, guys. Always good to hear back from the desk. And you were getting up some real creative prep there as well.
Yeah, I tried to cover the entire monitor with the drawing, the orange color.
It looks really good, to be fair. Cash has never looked so pretty. But yeah, Renegades are up against Eat You Alive. It's the rematch from the start of the day. Eat You Alive, did they manage, how many rounds did they get? 3?
Yeah, 2 or 3.
2 or 3. So hopefully for their sakes, they can maybe muster a little bit more now. Renegades probably feeling a little bit not so great at the moment, I can imagine.
I mean, they just watched the entire Cash match, so that's a little bit of a positive you can take from it. But
yeah.
Semler nailed it, and this is what we've talked about. I mentioned on the analyst desk after the first match is that, Renegades play so conservative, and it almost feels like they don't have confidence as individuals until a certain point in the match. And it never really clicked against Mongols until they were at, match point, until they had to go up, climb this massive comeback. Just not enough. But look at the boost already for Eat You Alive, spotting out middle and Sponge. They're going to go for a reverse boost here.
Yeah, counter boost coming in. This could be pretty deadly between the both of them. And actually, KNY, Kenny comes up with the double, and that is a massive start for Eat You Alive. Building off, well, a rather ravished Renegades in the previous game. So, perfect beginning. Bomb's going down on A. 99's watching the rotate already through mid, and Azure and Havoc way over at B.
This round's essentially over. That's like worst case scenario, not only for this match, or this round, but just this match in general. Because now Renegades, Semler mentioned the nightmare moment that Sponge had, shaking their hands with a grin on his face. Well, this is definitely a nightmare for Renegades, the exact opposite of what they wanted to start out with.
And the audience is getting behind Eat You Alive. At the start of the day, it was pretty reserved. Everyone was pretty quiet, just, watching the game, not really getting vocal. Now we're seeing these upsets. This crowd's getting a little bit louder, and there's a hell of a lot of people in this room. So Renegades going to be reminded they're not certainly leading so far, but just P250s, Susie's, 1 flash on Nazar, and it looks like it's going to maybe push in towards main as it's just lining up the flash. So pop flashing them in. No one's actually gone there for Eat You Alive. Yeah. Absolutely no one.
Looks like they got 1 player, DZ's out mid, so he's gained a little bit of control there. A couple players over towards the B bomb site, but this is the thing. There's a gap in this default setup from Eat You Alive, and Xbox has got to be careful. You could get picked off. If Sponge is here in these footsteps, he might just swing out, but he's going to play it patiently. He has that advanced position, and that might allow the rest of Renegades to cheat over towards B, but it's not going to be fast enough. Kenny already grabs 1 kill coming out mid, and now all of Eat You Alive is just slowly moving towards that B bomb site.
But Xbox really isn't going all that quickly. He really was holding that rotate for a hell of a long time, and Sponge almost got round there, but by this point, that B site is completely and utterly flooded with Eat You Alive players. The bomb's going down. Sponge, JKS, and Yam are a mile away, trying to maybe get some exits with those 5-7s and the CZ on JKS, but at this point, a very clean start for Eat You Alive. Barely losing out in this one. KNY, a man who did eventually pick up the AWP. Initially, it was Aegis, if I'm not mistaken. Could be looking towards that very early on if they keep up this sort of bank building up, and it looks like they're going to find these last 2 players as well if they're not too careful. Yam actually does find KNY, and 99's got to be a little bit careful. The JKS is just off to the left as well, and the crossfire will at least deny a little bit of those weapons.
Yeah, a couple of little exit kills there. Sponge even picks up a Galil. That can be something they use to do some damage into the next round if he can keep it. But this is the struggle now, because Renegade CT side on that last match looked suspect. And part of it just started right off the bat, losing pistol round, losing that 4th round, put into a really tough money situation to try and establish anything from, and they couldn't do it. Mongols just punished them for it. And not only that, but now, Eat You Alive, they had their first match. They know what they're expecting up on stage. They've got a little bit of experience. They can calm down. And if they start winning rounds early on, it's just going to grow that confidence.
It really will. And bearing in mind, last round, these guys barely made a scratch. Even just having 2 rounds already, just back-to-back rounds, it's going to make a big difference for them. Hopefully they don't let it slip, though, at this point. It's so easy for them to maybe get a little bit overzealous and just go a little bit too crazy in this one. Xbox, though, backs away, does just swing out there, checks to see if anyone's pushing to main off the back of the pop flash, and they had, but at the moment it's only YAM holding as everyone else is kind of pulled away. But while this happens, the rest of the T-side's looking at B.
A little bit of a battle here. This is where the Galil is, but Azur's been brought so low, and his teammate falls there. So the B bomb site's open for business. Sponge does get a single kill. That's all he's going to get, though. And in a 4-on-2, no armor, just some pistols for these last 2 Renegades members. Not really too much they can do. Maybe some low-impact exit frags, but overall, this is a good start to this half for EU Alive.
Brilliant start for them. Very, very big difference. And, well, YAM's going to at least find Xbox. He was pretty low, though. He blinded the bomb. He was the last guy into that site pretty much. A little bit late for my taste, if I'm honest. He's playing very much at the very cusp of people being able to rotate around the back of him. But so far, KMY's in a great little spot. He shouldn't be caught out, and he is. And so the P90 as well from DZ does close down on YAM. So a clean first 3 rounds.
So I imagine EU Alive, after watching the last match with Mongols, I mean, Machine Gun for Mongols was able to get out mid and wreak so much just destruction throughout the entire Terra staff that they had. I imagine EU Alive is going to try and do that same thing, because Renegade's mid defense really wasn't that impressive. It got savaged throughout the entire match. So if EU Alive can exploit that in the same way, get some players out, that's kind of like the launching zone for any kind of tactic you want to run on Cash.
Oh, they're already going for the boost, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's KMY already went up on towards that. Maybe just waiting for it as I guess holding that push in case they try to go aggressive mid. You've got Xbox as well, keeping tabs on towards that squeaky push in case they went for that again. That was occasionally dabbled with by Renegades as well. Not as much as maybe they'd been able to have hoped to have done, but still. It looks like they are looking towards mid, and it looks like Renegades have also got a plan in case that was happening. They've got 3 players dedicated towards mid, Sponge being one who's pushed up. You've got YAM on highway, Havoc just getting absolutely wrecked and doesn't get a follow-up here. KMY and Sponge did good. He only got the trade, though, and now into 3v2. The CT side's not in the best spot, to be fair. JKS is still pretty low.
Yeah, they're split up, and he's all alone over at that B site. But that's the thing. You're exactly right. 3 players there for Renegades. That just knows that, I mean, they wanted to stop any kind of mid presence from EU Alive early. They want to force him away from going out mid for most of this half, kind of intimidate him and keep him away from it. Trades went really, really well for EU Alive, and now with 2 players, I mean, they have plenty of time to work with, 45 seconds. They have some decent utility as well, but this AWP can wreak havoc. It's the thing that can deal some damage, get 1 pick, but JKS is going to be in a tough spot.
Yeah, he will be, but as of being the man who's boosted up on A, he was always going to be left alone there. So these 2 very quick on towards B. So hopefully for JKS, he can play the time right. Oh my word, Icus goes wild, and suddenly YAM goes down. What the hell just happened to Renegades?
Absolute disaster is what happened. JKS couldn't get anything done with the low HP, and now Azur's in such a tough spot. You don't want to give up this round. This has huge implications for the rest of the half on the money. And Xbox there just nicely done.
Azur just whiffed the flash as well. He hit off the wrong side of it. It doesn't do anything. 1 flash for a slight easily turned now. Icus actually did miss a shot. Suddenly, Azur's got a shot in this. Icus so low, but he still gets it with the pistol. And EU Alive in such an imperative round actually deliver.
That's heartbreaking now.
I'm like nervously laughing because this is scary.
Renegades is having flashbacks at the moment, so this is going to be tough. And actually, I imagine if you see Renegades struggle, if you see him lose the next gun round, if I'm Sponge, I'm calling a very early timeout in this match. And I'm saying, all right, guys, get it together. Our T side was pretty good last match. We had some success with it. We almost made that comeback happen. So let's just make sure we get a safe amount of rounds on CT.
Well, let's be real here. EU Alive were barely able to compete earlier. They played this team earlier, and it would be a mental thing, it would be a frustration thing, it would be out of just the tactical side of, the issues they had against their previous opponents. So hopefully for Renegades, they don't need to get to that point. But Azur has recovered the rifle. Could do a little bit more here, actually. Icus says no, and a nice little shutdown, and not losing more than 1 player.
This is kind of just like Renegades in a nutshell, where at a certain point, like, it just kind of seems like they don't really have confidence as individual players at times in some of the matches they play in. And it takes like a performance of just one of their players. You know, earlier it was Sponge a couple times, but they need guys like Havoc, JKS. YAM needs to be able to step up. The good thing for him is they have this double op set up, and this is what got him started, got him a few rounds on the CT side against Mongols. So YAM's gonna have a great opportunity as he's positioned over towards B. He does have JKS there for support, but he doesn't need it. First kill. Now it's Icus who's gonna have to go for this peek.
Yam's going to be left reeling off the back of that one. Always frustrating, especially when he was holding the angle as well. Prior to that, he knew. Got to have been assuming there was another player there. So already, EU Alive back on an even keel here. 4v4. T-side able to define the situation a little more, of course. But Sponge again pushed up in the same spot. They don't check, and he gets a chance to spray, but couldn't correct on towards KMY, who's now got some sort of control towards mid. 3v3.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Havoc was in a position where he couldn't get that second kill. He couldn't bail Sponge out of that battle. And once again, the defense is completely split up in a situation where they have to just gamble and double up in one site. 2 members in A. JKS is still alone over at the B bomb site, and there's a minute left on the clock. Plenty of utility for E2 Alive to use. Plenty of time for this AWP on Aegis to just lead the way into the site. Now Azur's rotated over, left the AWP in the A bomb site, and he's just kind of floating in between each one. They have no read on what's coming until that vent breaks. Now you can see the rotation coming in.
And it's going pretty quickly here. This time Xbox is right ahead of the curve. He's going to be pressuring on that left-hand side. Nice little play out from JKS, and Az is there. Finally, they stop the rot. But again, Renegades getting pushed, but they get the round under their belt. 1-5 though, and that was a heavily invested round. That was the double AWP. That was everything they put into that one.
Yeah, and they can't get reset here. They have to build on this. They have to get some rounds early on. You know, you got E2 Alive in a situation where their money's not super strong. They can, if they get a plant this round, they'll be able to buy next, but you can't let yourself get so beat up early on in a match where you need this momentum at some point, because they didn't get it whatsoever in the last one. And once again, it's mid-control. Sponge and Havoc working together. Havoc with the AWP back in connector. Sponge playing a little bit in the open. A little bit exposed right now, but it's not going to be the AWP from E2 Alive to go up.
He's putting so much faith in Havoc here. And actually, it's pretty much Sponge who did the initial damage. Then Havoc didn't quite have the shot on towards, I think that was either KMY or Aegis who was boosting up. They're going back in on the boost as well. Pretty late in the day, and Yams found one player pushing through Squeak. We saw that earlier on, but Aegis trades it out. So once again, the T-side not, letting the slack really get away from them.
That's an unnecessary kill for Havoc to give up. That peek there without any kind of flashbang, without any support from Sponge. Sponge had already fallen away. He's like, all right, we got the dink. We prevented the boost from really coming out. But now with the man down, it's open for businesses mid. And if they do a mid-B split here, Sponge is going to get over in time, but for a short moment, that was very susceptible with only one member in the B site, and they're going to go for it.
Sponge and JKS, this was the round they pretty much locked down before, but Sponge has to be so present in this one. He's in a good little spot here, at least. No one checks it out. He finally backs away. JKS allowed to time it out well then towards Checkers, leaving just Aegis in this. Now, he's going to be closing on pretty soon, I can imagine. I doubt he's going to have... Oh my God, Sponge, what is going on, buddy? That's 2 already now. 20 seconds left. You got Azur around the back. Yam going to support JKS on the side. This shouldn't run away from them, even if Aegis is getting a little dangerous then.
Yeah, well, the thing was, Sponge living would have been great, but if he had done any kind of damage and gotten 1 or 2 more kills, then all of a sudden you're forcing a rebuy, so Renegade's money is so low. But living with at least 3 people is exactly what Renegades need on the defensive side, so they can build up some money. They still have that double op setup. EU Alive hasn't found a way to punish it whatsoever, so they're going to be the ones without a plant on the eco round, some upgraded pistols, and no nades, which is sure to trigger Anders.
Triggering Anders is always a beautiful...
Which I just love it when that happens.
It is glorious. But the thing is, I'm wondering, when Renegades do adjust to be able to deal with that mid-presence, because it was quite clear that E2 Alive were trying to exploit the issues that were clearly very profound in that previous game. Now, let's say Renegades adjust that, double up in play, whatever it is, Sponge being a little more aggressive, whatever they change up, how are EU Alive going to do on their defaults? How are they going to do on these AX? Are they going to have some conditions toward that? I think we're going to find out pretty soon, because they will have to maybe pull another trick out of the hat, but this is a very clean round so far. Barely losing any health. But the bomb does get planted. Surprising that got away from them then.
Well, it's kind of funny. If there had been one smoke bot from each Alive and they smoke off that cross, that could be a little bit different. They could survive with 3 or 4 people into a post plant.
You're just trying to add to the triggering of Anders now.
I am, actually.
Just stirring the pot. He's just sat there watching, just quietly.
I wish.
just brooding away.
But this is the problem, though, is that E2 Alive, Renegades has won out these last 2 gun rounds they had, but E2 Alive is having success getting control of mid. At a certain point, that can get punished if they're not careful. So this duo of Sponge and Havoc, they've had some struggles, but it's the trades from EU Alive that have managed to allow them to win it out in the end.
All right. DZ again heading over towards Squeaky. Aegis holding the main push. No one's really going aggressive, though, through main. We saw it a little earlier on with a couple of pop flashes off the back of Azur, but we're just going to see Azur now boosted up in towards that kind of boost spot, just tucked on the boxes. If they don't check this, if they do go for the default A that I was kind of hoping, you're going to see it probably absolutely shattered. But again, working through mid here.
Yeah, and it's going to be a nice surprise for EQ Live. No one's here from Renegades. They only had Havoc watching initially for any kind of quick boost, and he's actually going to rotate, either, repositioning that AWP to a spot where EQ Live hasn't seen it yet. Maybe trying to guess what kind of adjustment that EQ Live is going to make. And actually, it's the correct call to make. Azur's boosted up. Havoc has the AWP back towards quad, and it's going to be an A hit for EQ Live. So this could be a little bit scary, but that kill onto Sponge, once again, losing in middle. That could force some rotations, but this boost from Azur has got to be huge, and he's got one coming up highway.
Yeah, timing is everything now. He's got pressure left, right, and center, but this is being dealt with perfectly. But finally, KNY comes in, as does Aegis, and they've won out on the trades. They've got the side to hand. The bomb's going to be on there. Yam and JKS going to have to play retake on this. They've got a good bit of utility to pour in, but it doesn't catch them as well as they'd hoped.
99 playing right behind the smoke to their right on highway. He's got low HP, so how does Renegades think they're going to find a foothold into this retake? They have some utility. They have smoke, Molotov. There's the first kill from JKS. They're going to move forward. Yam gets a second one. Quickly down to just Kenny. He grabs the kill. Yeah, this is perfect. Now he can just wait. But there is a smoke and there is a Molotov on Yam.
Yam's going for it as well. This is a full defuse. There's 3 seconds blind. He can't see this. KNY doesn't see it. No, he gets it. Yam just about pulls it off. Gets the kill. KNY fully white. Got the tag, but that was about it. And again, close rounds between these two, but the retake just about pulling through.
Yeah, that was incredibly close. And if it wasn't for that utility, if the other guy had been alive and he had no smoke, that would have been a disaster. So very close. Beat you alive. They have the full, not full losing bonus. They've lost 4 in a row, so they're getting there. But with that plant, they've done some decent damage. Yama's got 9,500, but Havoc still chooses to go with the Mag 7.
I won't be judging at this point, but Havoc is just going walkabouts straight down towards mid. Azur and Sponge supporting on that one. And EU Live looking a little more cautious, a little more careful, and just seeing what they're up against more than anything.
I imagine this is going to be a pop flash for Havoc once the smoke clears, and so he can just get aggressive, see what he's working with, but he gets blinded himself. 99 comes out, but doesn't clear it. Azur's going to get it, and there's Havoc with the Mag 7. Still not, he's got 2 teammates with him, so he hasn't found any joy with it, but 2 kills up for Renegades.
That's pretty devastating, and he's just seen the bomb. Now he's got the time to pounce. Doesn't get much more, maybe looking to pick up the weapon that was dropped just off the prior body, but now left him just with 2 players standing. It looks like EU Alive have been pretty much pushed out this round. You've got JKS pushing out B. They know that they just need to get over towards A, maybe be a little cautious of mid just in case there's a boost, in case there's a little bit of something left in the tank, but by now 48 seconds left. There shouldn't be much here of an opportunity for the T side.
Yeah, Azur's also pushed up in A main, so he's going to get that first kill. Now it's basically all over. Aegis does get 1. That's onto Sponge, but Yam is going to clean him out. They didn't have 2 ops in the last round, so if they go back, it'll be interesting to see if they go back to that. And there's no reason not to. That's what got him on this run. That's what's gotten him for these 5 rounds. And Havoc has plenty of money. He's got 9K. No reason not to go back to the double op. And actually now, knowing that it's going to be a save, so good call from him. He just picks up the MP9. He's going to go farming a little bit more.
Not a bad plan. And a little bit of aggression so on the map can clear out some of these angles, help them focus, but it does seem as though we just can see a hyper-aggressive play coming out from EU Live, just trying to bully through mid, try and keep some presence there, but so far it's just been an absolute shooting gallery, and Renegades on the right side of it as well. So they do start to take the lead here, 6-5. Now, considering the earlier scoreline they had against this very team, this is still a questionable performance, but as you said, once they'd worked out what they needed in this, once they started to really check all the boxes, Renegades have started to pull back, but still, I'm curious how this one's going to end up because, it is the CT side. Renegades, it is an equal map on Cash. It's not exactly as biased as many or others, but I'm hoping there's a little more depth to EU Alive here to maybe pull that scoreline back into their favor.
Yeah, the trouble for them is now Renegades has all the utility they could want. They have all their Molotovs, all their smokes, and actually one member, that is Kenny, might have sneaked by him on the boost. They might not know he's actually out. They have 2 players. They're going to boost up into the vents, and this could get punished. Kenny looks like he's waiting for it. It's Molotov'd out, so JKS doesn't want to peek forward. There's Sponge getting the first kill. There's JKS biding his time with that flashbang. Nicely done. Good trades for Renegades. So they keep control of mid, and they force EQ Alive away. That's been the theme. Who's winning that mid battle? Now EQ Alive has to find something else to do.
And they're not really having much luck anywhere else on the map. They've been hampered when they go towards A with the boost. Whoever's up there, it's been a couple of players. If it's I feel that they're running out of options. They don't quite have that variety to fall back to yet.
Well, now that it's mid-round and things have slowed down a little bit, now it's where the double ops of Renegades have been just punishing them. And Azur's still having a field day right now. 2 kills for him. Eventually gets taken down, but what does Xbox have to do? He knows JKS is in vents, but JKS doesn't have to peek this whatsoever. All the meanwhile, there's a slow push from Yam with that AWP. He's just grabbed an angle on these stairs, and Xbox is unfortunately about to walk right into it.
Oh, and even the crouch to really help Yam
Right,
out.
why not?
Might as well at least give them some hand in this Renegades after that previous performance. But 7-5 now, starting to look a little bit better for this one. How many rounds is it back? It's literally 7 rounds back.
7 rounds
back.
in a row.
So there we go.
Ever since the first round with the double up.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's the thing. And we saw this earlier as well in Kabul when these two teams played, is E2 Live traded a couple rounds early in that match, but once Renegades got enough money built up, once they had a stable economy, there was just no looking back. And it's happening exactly. It's just repeating itself here in this match.
And this looks a little different. Now the mollies come out, they're going to hinder the peak towards mid. But then again, look how many players are already looking towards A. We've got a bit of a switch up here. DZ, 99, KNY, all heading that way. It's only Yam holding it pretty passively, but by this point already, Sponge and Azza are pushing forward. They're going to get the counter boost going. And if none of those two players are looking, this could be devastating. Sponge is behind every single member right now. He gets down 1, he gets the tag towards 2nd. Every piece of information will be falling into place, and the rest of Renegades can line them up and pretty much knock them down.
Yeah, this is so well done from Renegades. Great timing on the reverse boost. Kenny's going to get 1, but he falls. I actually like the play by Sponge. Obviously, you want to see him get 2 to 3 kills there when he's behind everyone. But the fact that he muffs that 2nd kill, he doesn't force the issue. He just stays there, and he's like, all right, you either have to come back to me and waste all your time, or you have to move forward because you have nowhere else to go, and they run right into the blender. So good stuff from Sponge just to maximize, the mistake that he made and missing that 2nd kill. But either way, 8-5 now. And E2 Alive, they're just stumped. This double op setup is, they have no answer for it whatsoever. Now it's just the pistols, a couple players with armor. The op again from Havoc rings out with another kill. And that might just speed up this B hit for E2 Alive. But actually, no, it slows him down.
Okay. Now it's going to slow down a hell of a lot more with the molly and nade just kind of being placed to the ground. Sponge has already rotated as well. You've got 3 players on this one. Renegades aren't buying into fakes. They're just going to go all out. They've seen the bomb now. To be fair, I was surprised that wasn't a bit of a double coming through. That was very, very close. Now, Huggies did get 1, but White left once again trying to deal with mid. Takes down Azza, but by this point, that bank, that economy for Renegades is vast, and it's certainly no problem to rebuy those double ops. And again, finally, we see double ops for Eat You Alive. Now, they went back to that option earlier on Cobble, a little sooner in the game, to be fair, and they had varying members trying out. Igis was the initial player, then we saw KNY coming out with it, then 99. Maybe they can find something, but then there's the auto sniper now, and that's a Sponge.
Yeah, this nicely done, Sponge. And I mean, he might just spam a clip and just fall back and get the M4, but he's just putting the fear of God with them. But that's an over-aggressive peek from Yam. So he gets dropped. This is the first time in a long time Eat You Alive has had a man advantage into these rounds. But it's quickly cleaned out by Azar, who's come alive in this match. A 2nd one for him. He's got 17 total so far. Eventually gets shut down.
And the real shame of it all is there were mollies aplenty on Eat You Alive. They could have cleaned out that corner. They could have maybe worked it out, but they just got that real kind of confidence back in them. But KN White's found Havoc, punishing these hyper-aggressive peaks that are coming out. Now, Sponge and JKS are kind of left reeling off the back of that one. Smartly enough, Sponge, or riskily enough, I guess you could say, leaps out with the auto sniper, checks out main, no one's there. Expecting the rotate, though. Eat You Alive hit the brakes and try and get that challenge mid. Sponge! No, he gets caught out! Sloppy play, maybe expecting a little bit more basic stuff from Eat You Alive, but they certainly have a good read on this.
This has been sloppy play from a lot of members in Renegades in this round. The peaks, with the double op setup, with Yam just peeking and then Havoc re-peeking, and then there was Sponge. This could punish him here, and you don't want to give this round up. JKS is on his rotate back, but he's not going to beat him there. Now the op is in on his position. He's got to fight this long range. Actually, gets up along CT wall, and he's just going to be hyper-aggressive with it, but they do spot him out. Now he's in the open. This is where it is, but Kenny falls. So JKS in a one-on-one, and Igis has got to work his way around this red box over to Forklift, and Igis knows exactly where he is. No space for JKS to work with, and he falls. That's 6 for Eat You Alive after losing 9 straight.
And I wish I could comment on Eat You Alive's T or CT strengths, but after their first game of the day, I have absolutely no idea. But then again, this is all Renegades game to lose, if I'm honest. And it's them losing it for themselves if they do, at the end of the day, because they've beaten this opponent before. Sure, it wasn't on Cash, it was on Cobble, but in theory, that was a better map for Eat You Alive if you go off their previous results.
I mean, the thing we have to also talk about is Cash, you know, even going back to the Mongols match, I'm sure they mentioned on the analyst desk, Cash is like Renegade's map. That's the map they want to play.
Well, to be fair, this is what Sponge was saying for quite some time as well, that a lot of the kind of teams from this general region have a very similar map pool to them. So it's like, do we take away maps like Inferno that we know they like, which we also like? Do we take away Cash? These sort of issues. Okay, I think we do have a bit of a crash, although someone wrote Rash. I think that was who wrote that in the end?
We got it. Pause, crash, everyone knows, everyone falls away.
Yes, there you go.
But this is the other thing, is that Renegades in the last matchup, I mean, the G side was their impressive half.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if they're going to come into this with that kind of confidence that they had, I mean, this is the thing, you obviously don't want them to have a slow start of any kind, but if they come into this and play their T side like they did when they were trying to make that comeback work, when they had the Dream alive for, you know, just that second half, I mean, this could get a little bit scary for Eat You Alive, and this is also where the inexperience shows, with the rotations, with the communication, and understanding what your opponent is doing. This is where Renegades can really throw them for a loop, because Eat You Alive has probably not seen all the things that Renegades want to do on their T side.
Well, even the fact that it was Azure at the time was just dropping down, well, pretty much just going towards drop on the T side, splitting them up, making it incredibly hard work to get the clean rotates or kind of clean holds on the CT side that they were used to having, and no one really pressuring them to that sort of extent on Cobble. It caught them and it threw them for a loop. They had no idea what to do about it. They couldn't challenge them out. They were trying to take fights in drop rather than maybe playing a little more passively, leaving two there. Whatever it was, they just couldn't find an answer, and it pretty much held them back completely. And that's when no rounds came from it for Eat You Alive. They were constantly being caught out and being held up on the rotates. Now, I don't know if there's going to be such an extent of that to the kind of maybe the clearness that you can see on Cobble, but then again, I'm sure that Renegades can pull something out of the hat, bearing in mind how much pressure they've got on them. They really need to start bringing out maybe the A-game playbook, maybe stepping up, making sure they just close this out.
Yeah, this would be an important match for them to close out and just get home and relax, and you can just work your way through the loss you took earlier and prepare for tomorrow's matches, because if they do make it, CyberZen is no easy opponent. And this is what I like to see, just grouped up over towards the B bomb site, but actually look at Eat You Alive. I thought they were going to send a third player over. Only two. It's going to be careful. Kenny's going to spot out one early. Now they're close.
But 99's already found Yam, so I guess this isn't going too badly either. Finally, we can see Eat You Alive getting off to a good start on the CT side again. KY on 99, doing so much there, and Renegades had no focus. KY was allowed to stay alive for a hell of a long time, and where the hell were Renegades?
Those first two kills that come out from Eat You Alive, very nice shots, and that just stalls out that rush. So incredibly much. They get stuck in the choke point. They're getting shot at from two different angles, trying to force their way in, and it's just not working. And now look at this buy-out of Eat You Alive. They do have 4 SMGs, P90, 2 MP7s, and MP9. It is armor bought up on Renegades, though, and against Mongols, this kind of a buy almost worked out in the second round. It was close, but aggression at B. Look at this, Ketty pushing through, KNY pushing through. And he's got a teammate there. Dink goes out, but that's JKS with the kill. Enough KNY's really low, and he can't make it back either, so Renegades have a nice advantage in this round.
You're going to start sweating bullets now. Those two players are going to be like, they've got armor. They have to, and Aegis doesn't realize how close Az is pushed as well. He's going to be quick on that rotate, maybe check out if someone's going from A. He could get caught, though, if he does get spotted out. I think Xbox did just see him, but now the side's got the bomb going down. They're pretty secure here, and Aegis is getting pressured from every single angle at this point. And, well, Xbox did find Azure released, but still, it's a 3v2. Guns are recovered, the armor's still in place. Okay, Xbox still going here. I'm not going to get down him again, but there we go. Finally, Havoc just shuts him down. Don't check your corners, and you're going to get punished in the end. Renegades swinging it around.
Yeah, that's heartbreaking for Eat You Alive. But look at their performance on their side. I mean, KNY's got 19, Aegis has 15. They've had a very, very good match so far, those two.
Yeah, KNY was the top fragger as well, on their side at least, in that first game as well. So he shows he's got a fair bit of, I guess, talent towards picking this up. So hopefully he can find a bit of form going forward. But already Renegade's not messing around here. 3 Galils coming out, 2 SMGs. A hell of a lot of utility as well, so they can clear corners and they should be relatively safe.
And this is what we've seen out of Renegades is coming into this tournament. They've been very much more structured when they're not necessarily executing on bomb sites, but when they're clearing out angles to prepare to execute. JKS watching the flank. He's going to get a first one. They line up for him. He gets a second, but he runs out of bullets. KNY does eventually take that one. Sponge is going to clean him out, and Azure on the other side of the map. He's going to finish them all off, so 11-7 now. A nice foothold into this match for Renegades, and now they can just look forward just hopefully not drop the ball.
Hopefully, for their sakes. And their reputation's sakes and all the work and everything they put in. No, I don't think there's any other team who's kind of had as much of a time to get themselves prepared. Maybe not just for this tournament, I'm not saying that, but there's a lot of pressure put on these guys after the back of what's been invested towards them, and nice work with the nades, just completely ruining any chance of a quick mid play coming up, and Renegades reading that well.
Yeah, it's helping out with if they wanted to do a boost, they just nade that Xbox and they get a free kill off of it. And now here comes the heavy push towards B. All the rotation from Each Alive is back towards middle, over towards the A bomb site, but Renegades has them completely fooled. So it's going to be a free plant, should be a free win. Azur's up on top of the boost, finds an easy kill onto 99. No one else there for Each Alive to trade it. Oh, actually, he loses that battle at range. That was to a Deagle, to be fair.
Silver linings with Moses. First time in a while I've actually heard you say anything towards silver linings, but hey, KNY gonna be looking
Listen,
up and over.
If he had lost that to like a USP or a P2000, that might have been an issue.
All right, at least he's got the Galil. He's gonna make it out of there probably. I doubt anyone from Renegades is gonna be able to get to him in time, and I guess just be holding the push through around the back. So he's gonna position himself well. No one else is gonna lose out so far, I can imagine at this point. The rifle is safe, the Galil is safe, and actually KNY might try and swing on him. No, he does just slide away. I was like, please don't do this. 12-7 now. Renegades starting to get at least a bit of a nicer scoreline behind them. Once you get towards these sort of rounds, you're starting to feel a little more comfortable.
Well, here's the issue as well for Each Alive. We mentioned KNY, I guess, how far ahead they are on the scoreboard than their teammates. That's all well and good on the T side when you can dictate where the action's going. When you can put the guys who have the hot hand, you can put them up in front, let them get picks for you. On the CT side, it's like if Renegades just avoids where they're at, I mean, they've either got to be very mobile or they got to find some quick rotations over. And look at this, mid-control for Renegades. They're out so quickly, but I guess wins the initial battle. Trade onto DZ, and it looks like Renegades is going to pressure A. Xbox is so isolated there for a long time. Renegades has plenty of a chance, and he's just going to burn.
Yeah, really nice usage of pretty much everything apart from the guns at the moment by Renegades. Massive amounts of smoke towards mid, pushing up, pressuring them down. Then the mollies clearing out the corners, and then they knew exactly where EU Alive were going to be placed, and that was just a really nice play that round from Renegades.
Yeah, it really was. That one kill just isolates that A player for so long, and he didn't have anything to do. He's probably blind while burning with some of the flashbangs that Renegades threw, so an execution catches EU Alive off guard. And they're back onto the save. That'll allow Renegades, if they don't lose this round, it'll get them up towards 14. You do see some armor come out for Each Alive on the two-star players, on Aegis and KNY, so maybe trying to make something happen for their boys.
Yeah, and did just catch a glimpse of Charlie being baited out on that one. He does go for the shot, not going to be able to catch much out from that. 3 players for EU Alive are waiting at A now. Those mollies again are going to force Xbox into the worst position possible. Now JKS is going to just put him out of his misery. No swing out available on towards that CZ, and now cleanly done again by Renegades. Maybe not as clean as around before. Now last man in this is going to be KNY. He was negated over at B. Yam is holding super close as well. He's going to be the first point of contact here, and he will get the shot. That's Renegades getting to 14 now, starting to look far better, well suited. But it does seem as though they've had, been forced to play a little bit, maybe more than they'd want to on Cash here, bringing out maybe these executes, these plays that they've been building up during that time off that maybe they didn't expect to be forced to be doing in at least today's games.
Yeah, this is the thing too about Each Alive, that they're just not prepared for the kind of conviction and how quick these executions are coming in. Once the smokes, once the nades and Molotovs come out for Renegades, it's everyone going forward at the same exact time, and Each Alive just can't handle that at the moment. And he's actually, KNY's just burning. He's inside the vet. He's Molotov down, and look at Renegades still pushing forward. They can't stop it. Havoc and Sponge each get one, and JKS with a third. That's going to clear out the B bomb site. Molotov comes out to delay any kind of push. And DZ, he's trying to find a battle in the open, but Renegades doesn't have to take anything.
No, he does at least find JKS. He was very confident on those swing outs earlier on, but on the side there, Yam is going to find DZ, leaving just Xbox, who has that AWP, and I doubt he's going to make it away. Backs into Azur, and there we have it. Renegades making it to 15, one more round, and they live to fight another day.
That was a team ace for Renegades. Every member got 1 kill. Nicely done. I always like to see that.
Really nice.
Team aces are great. But this is, this match has been Azur coming alive. Even in the first half, I mentioned that at a certain point, Renegades, if they struggle early on in matches, they need to have one of their players step up. There's always someone who's just like, all right, guys, I'll do it this time. I'll get a triple kill here. And actually, Azur had 2 or 3 really good rounds, once they started going on a roll on their CT side. So he's come alive. He's continued it into the terrace half. 23 and 13 for him, playing stellar.
been such a big presence as well on the sides, not just picking up, the occasional kills here and there. They have been entries, they have been some really aggressive moves, but this time getting met by the nade in towards Squeaky. There are 3 players this time from EU Live over towards A. We haven't really seen Renegades commit just yet, so EU Live need to be careful to not get a little overzealous on this site and stacking it out a little too early.
Yeah, this is actually a much slower round from Renegades than we've seen recently. They're kind of letting EU Alive start to guess a bit. Now, there are 3 members. Igus can rotate over towards that A site really quickly, and actually he started to cheat over there now, up from Highway, as these smokes, as these Molotovs come out. The Renegades trying to come through. They have all the execution they want. Haven't found anything. There's Azure with the entry. He's going to get a second one. Big plays from him. Yam cleans out Igus, so 5-on-2 now. What's EU Alive going to do?
At the moment, not a hell of a lot. Azure is still on the prowl. It's just KMY left alive, and he was a beast on the T side. He couldn't be let loose, and there we have it. It is Renegades picking up the slack when it was needed, finally closing it down at 16-7 in the end. EU Alive, though, started to look a little bit good. When they started out, it was like, okay, this might be a problem. Then suddenly, the buck was stopped.
I was glancing over at the analyst desk in those first 5 rounds when EU Alive was winning, and everyone was just like, please no. Please don't let this happen to them, these poor guys. So Sponge looking a little bit happier than he did when Semler caught him on camera earlier. No longer having a nightmare for now.
Well, I guess it literally is just a sigh of relief at this point, because no one expected them to be even pressured on this day. It was meant to be a very, very clean performance. So at least for them, they've done enough to secure them into the next cup, well, the next day at least, and hopefully for them they can recoup, rekindle whatever they need to, maybe reflect a little on what went wrong, because, bearing in mind, EU Alive are probably arguably one of the weaker teams here, and they've got a hell of a lot more rounds just watching those mistakes. So if a good team was able to pick up on that, or a better team, should I say, they could have been in trouble.
Yeah, and here's the thing too about, this is just with all the teams that we've seen play that are no longer in the event, that have gotten knocked out with the Asian scene. There's a lot of, we've seen some very skilled players,
really
1 or 2 on each team. We've seen the teams even, with the inexperience, still put together good stretches and matches, but lack that ability, that experience and the know-how to put it all together in an entire match. So good start for these teams in what might have been most of their first international events.
It's a great way to close us down, at least at the caster desk. So let's head back over to the analysis for their thoughts on that game.
So Renegades, they've actually managed to do it. It did look a little bit shaky to begin with, and it looked like EU Alive did have a pretty solid shot there. But guys, analysts, what happened there for EU Alive? Because, it was a good start.
Yeah, they got off to the start we kind of dreamed they would get off to, or that we said they'd kind of have to hope for.
Yeah.
But eventually...
Just like on Cobble.
Yeah, I know.
That was the thing. We were sitting here and we're watching and we're just like, hey, this is Cobble all over again, right? Renegades looking shaky, EU Alive, playing with confidence, taking these fights, winning these fights. It all seemed to kind of fall together there for EU Alive until Renegades got 2 rounds in a row, and then that was it. It was over, right?
Yeah.
So they're still trying to figure out, clearly EU Alive are still trying to figure out how to maintain, once the game gets hard, how to maintain the level and fight back. They haven't found the solution for that yet.
Yeah, and I think a big issue we've seen with pretty much all the Asian teams we've seen here so far is that they struggle on their CT sides. So they've had decent to pretty decent T sides for the better part of it, but their CT sides need a lot of work, and a lot of that comes down to the fact that they don't know how to do proper rotations and actually... it might come down to communication, but it just seems like it's not well practiced,
right?
From my standpoint. But I don't know. It's a shame they couldn't get more rounds, but they did pick up 2 pistols, so I guess that's something.
Yeah, Renegades, though, that's something that's going to have to be a point that Sponge focuses on for the next day. Basically, it's like, what the hell do we have to do to win a pistol around here, guys?
Yeah.
We're winning force buys. It's not that different. Pistols.
Actually, that's probably better. That's probably better to win a force buy right after losing the eco.
There's an argument for that, sure, and also as far as like the swing and how you're going to feel, confidence-wise, etc. Havoc, came alive, and they clearly, it clearly worked out for Renegades, right? That they lost the pistol and they came back. It's like Envy style, okay, pistol guys, who needs it? Once I get my CZ, that's all I need.
Yeah.
I love you, baby. That's how it is for Renegades, at least in that sort of situation. That's just a real shame that EU Alive couldn't have the same start that they had in the first half, where they won the pistol, then they won the first buy, and they really put the pressure on Renegades. If they could have done that in the second half, maybe it takes Renegades a little bit of time to recover. we could have had a real match, but it never really looked like Renegades were threatened at all in that map.
Yeah, and there are a lot more points we can go into, and we can save some of them when we do go into tomorrow's games. We can just have a quick review of today's. You can see Renegades did kick things off really well, 16-2 against EU Alive. I mean, that does look a little bit crazy, 16-2, but there was a lot of really close rounds in that first match there. And of course, Tailu did get disqualified, and that allows Renegades then to face off against the Mongols, 16-13. The Mongols bringing the heat.
And that's one of those games where it actually could have been a way bigger number for Mongols as well.
Yeah,
that could have been 16-5.
They couldn't close. Their CT sites were pretty questionable.
They were experimental.
Experimental, I like that.
I think it was just, it's all in the head basically in that sort of situation, because they were running the same kind of strategies that Renegades were. They were doing things right on their CT side. It's just that big difference from the first half, they just weren't hitting their shots. They were, going for aggressive B hull pushes, aggressive A hull pushes, trying to control mid. Machine Gun kept challenging in mid, and contrary to the first half where he was just hitting headshots like a monster, second half, once that grind started to get on for Renegades, that's where you really started to see them struggle a little bit, and they couldn't quite find the shots after that.
And this is what we're left with now. This is where we are.
A bit of an unexpected bracket.
And the whole CyberZen Renegades thing, that's a massive problem potentially for Renegades. Massive problem. CyberZen have been the only team that really truly look untouchable so far.
If this plays out the way it was supposed to, Renegades are sitting, going up against Chiefs, we'd have a bit of an Aussie-on-Aussie fight, always a good time. And then, we'd actually have, CyberZen getting to play against Mongols, another good match. Would have been fairly interesting because in that case, both of those teams, both of those sets of teams would know each other very well.
Yeah,
so we'd
exactly.
get some good CS.
It's all right, Sam. We've already had some Aussie-on-Aussie fights, even
Very
before
true.
the tournament started.
Even very, yeah.
It's all good. It's all
Apparently, his nose isn't broken. That's good.
good. That's good. That's
So, just saying.
Yeah.
But, yeah, no, as far as the matches tomorrow are concerned, Renegades CyberZen, that's for a spot at the major qualifier and for a potential spot at Katowice. I mean, there's a lot on the line right now for Renegades. They're going to be feeling the heat.
Yeah, indeed. Are you inspired by Sponge? You got the kind of bedhead thing going on here.
I had to rush out of the room this morning.
Yeah, had to just go for it.
Wonder why, Dan. I wonder why. What happened last night?
You guys aren't sharing rooms, are you?
We might be sharing rooms, yeah.
We might be. I might have the short end of the stick.
This is what happens. This is how you look.
I'm
never again.
Let's double dive. But it's okay.
Not
It's
even
okay.
once.
So lots of action to look forward to tomorrow. We have, of course, a pretty interesting semi-final. Again, unexpected, as Summer pointed out. CyberZen and Renegades going to be very interesting. Mongols and the Chiefs. That's what you have to look forward to tomorrow. But this is all we have for you today here at the IEM Season 10, Day 2 here for the CSGO. And of course, one thing I must remind you of is to check out players.tv. We want to see your highlights. Go over there, add the Chrome extension, play around with it, tag us all, and let's see what you guys think is the best actions here. You can make your own little clips, and we will definitely be enjoying and sharing those amongst ourselves as well. But that is all from the desk here today. We shall see you tomorrow for more action here from Taipei.